that this video and this season is going to take so long is we got some stragglers, and obviously from like the spring season, because they both have 24 episodes, which I didn't know. God damn it! But of course, both of them are still going on for the 2025 summer season, so of course we're still going to be talking about them. We're not just going to drop them. And the first one that we're going to be talking about is To Be Hero X. Now, I feel like I'm finally hit an impasse, right? I finally hit this impasse with To Be Hero X, where I'm still liking the content, I'm still enjoying the content, and it feels like every week I hop on here, or every time I make a video on this, talking about this series, talking about how I feel. I love the animation still, I love the characters still, nothing in terms of quality has really changed. But the storytelling and the way they're telling their stories still bugs me. Now, their most current story, the one that they were talking about with the bunny girl in the suit and like her pairing up with the other scientists, I actually like that because they also follow another hero for another episode that is directly involved with that story, and both of those stories kind of merge. And they've been doing that for the last four to two heroes, right? Like the last two heroes they followed, their stories have been like intertwined. This is the most two different heroes that have had their kind of own episodes have been very intertwined. And we've had this with Lucky Star and Queen, where I want to say they're kind of intertwined, but not really until the end. Lucky kind of helped Queen kind of helped Lucky, and they are friends, they aren't associated. And then there's been like a little cat boy that's been kind of going across the four stories, right? But like, I'm still wondering, what is still the point of everything with To Be Hero X? Like, where do we go from here? Where do we, what direction do we go? What direction do we have? And even though the last four stories have been intertwined, and the last two stories and the previous two stories before that are also technically sort of kind of intertwined because the cowboy is there and they have that involvement, and Lucky Cyan is still kind of brought up a little bit. What happened to Ling Ling and what happened to Isol? Like, are we just not talking about them? Like, the Ling Ling story ended massively, and we have not touched upon that. And don't get me wrong, I did enjoy this story. I like I like the father and daughter dynamic. I like the fact that this hero was a mute hero, and he couldn't explain himself, but he's also trying to open himself up more, and he's trying to go, he's trying to become better. And I like the way they address that and all that. Because I don't want to poo-poo on the stories that we have been telling. They have been good stories. Like Shadowblade, there you go. Shadowblade story was really good. Lucky Science story was also really good. Queen's story was also really good. I forget what the bunny girl's name was, but she's also good. These stories have been good. I love the character development around them. But god damn it, Isol and Ling Ling are still in the back of my head. Like, it is bordering to the point where it's getting kind of frustrating. Like, am I supposed to just imply, or am I just to insinuate that Ling Ling just doesn't exist anymore? Which, if that's the case, that's fine. But then also now, where's Isol? And I think it sort of does, if I'm not wrong, there still is something with Isol where it's like, I think the person that managed Isol, like the dude who was working at that shop who was secretly some type of tycoon, I think he was talking with the bunny girl's dad who was running the facility that's trying to understand what fear is. And I think they're planning that out, right? So maybe there is that connection with the Isol story of the tycoon dude who kind of led Yang Chen to becoming Isol. It's just like, I need more, man. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate what they're doing now, because the last four stories are very intertwined. It's what I've been asking for. But they're still just like, where's Isol? What's happening with that story? What happened with Cha-Ching? What happened with Ling Ling? Is Moonlight actually dead? Is Ling Ling actually dead? Was it... I should go back and look, but I'm still contemplating whether it was Isol who was the one that ended up killing the both of them. Like, what is what? Why are those two stories not integrated like the rest of them? Because after Lucky Cyan's story, everything else is integrated. Like, Lucky Cyan knows who Queen Bee is. Queen Bee knows who Lucky Cyan is. The Bunny Girl is interacting with people from that previous story, but also the Shadow Blade is also very much intertwined and very much directly involved with Bunny Girl's story and her friend. So they're doing the intertwining. I just don't know if this shit is kind of on the fly and we're just like, oh yeah, sure. And if Ling Ling's story was the story that's just there to set up the world, that's fine. But it would be such a waste because now his story is like done. And it kind of sucks that his story's done, because I guess you could go ahead and say like, oh, it was someone who was never supposed to be brought into this world. He was an outsider, and you can argue everyone else, while they might not be outsiders, they were strong enough in order to do that, and yada yada yada. My problem is that his concept was so good, and all these concepts are so good. Where we have Isol, the Isol story with Yang Chen, and obviously it's a hero who could be anybody, and there's a bunch of Isols. You have Lucky Star, who's a hero who, you know, inspire others, but how that can backfire and can turn people evil and greedy. You have Queen's story, where it's somebody who has strived the longest time to be something, and it just, you know, failing in that. Just like Prodigy, that's trying to better herself and just kind of a workaholic. You have Bunny, who's this girl who's trying to, you know, make a thing for female heroes and build this thing, try to be a scientist, but she's someone that doesn't have a power value, a trust value. There it was. That doesn't have a trust value and is just being a superhero without a trust value, which is interesting. And then you have Shadowblade, who's this new character who's trying to, you know, he took up the job because, you know, of his past and being like, yeah, I want to get away from the butcher stuff. I became this hero because I like the silence and I'm using this trust value in order to get away from all that. But now he's like wanting that. He's like, okay, but I want that daughter. Like, I do have something I care about that I want to defend. I didn't have it before, but now I do, and I realize what I've missed. Like, there's so many different concepts. I wish they'd at least, like, stick to something. But, like, also, like, I'm glad they're intertwining them now, but, like, I don't know. I think it just bothers me. It just bothers me. I don't know if it bothers anybody else, but, like, and maybe I'm being nitpicky. Maybe I'm the one that's nitpicky because I sat there and I was because the Ling Ling story, the nice story, was the thing that got me into it, and it feels like we got no follow-up from what feels like should have been a cliffhanger. And we got no follow-up for that whatsoever. And then there's X, that finally got introduced in the Queen story, but we, like, still don't know who X is. And we only barely touched upon him in the Queen story. Like, he was just this dude, and we don't know what his power was. We don't know what he's supposed to do. I mean, we get a teaser of what it is, and it seems like it's like a time stop ability, but, like, we still don't know who X is. And we don't know how he factors into anything. And if he's someone who's used as a teaser trailer, and someone that's used for promotional things, and someone who is, like, very focused on in the opening for the show, I would expect, I don't know, a little bit more guidance. If we're gonna like twist things together, maybe have him be a see-through, maybe him be the one character that connects all of them together. I don't know how he plays into anything, but it's kind of frustrating. Unless, the only theory I could think about is that it makes a full circle and X is actually Ling Ling. Because Ling Ling created the idea of X, and so we go back to him at the very end of this whole thing, and we find out that, yeah, whatever happened with him is he's now X for some reason. Which, Matt, you gotta find a really good way to impress me with that. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm at an impasse. Like, I'm still enjoying it. The animation's still good. The character development is still good. I'm glad that we're intertwining stories now. And it feels like we're even going to go back to, after the end of the last episode, it feels like we're going to go back to the Lucky Cyan and Queen Bee story that also ended in a cliffhanger that we have not gotten for a couple of episodes. And we're finally getting to that. So, I don't know. Maybe it'll pay off. But, like, it's not great, man. Like, at least keep the plate spinning somehow. Because it feels like we've totally ditched that. And even with the And even with the cliffhanger with the Queen Bee and Lucky Science story, with them going on vacation, it also feels like that was just kind of dropped. I'm just like, oh, yeah, that happened. Hey, there's a Bunny Girl suit and a superhero that has it's not a great father. We're gonna follow that for about 4 episodes, which again, it's fine. I like those stories. Those stories are cool, but like, man, there are times where like it feels like a lot of these stories just can't grow, man. And like, it's starting to aggravate me a little bit watching this. And I feel so shitty too, because To Be Hero X at the beginning of spring was like my top anime. I was impressed by the 3D, the 2D change animation they did. It stopped, but I still like the animation regardless. The Ling Ling story with Nice definitely attracted me. I love the idea of how trust value. I love the idea of fear. And now at the start of summer, it's the interest of me calling this a good to a mid anime. It definitely is definitely like hanging there. I think at the end of this, if we're really going downhill, I don't think it's gonna happen. But I think like it's slowly becoming like mid, man. It's slowly becoming mid to me, it kind of sucks. Because I really enjoyed this in the beginning, but I'm just slowly losing interest. And it sucks because like I sat there, I'm like, oh man, there's not much I hate so far this year. But like I'm starting to like not dislike, but at least get bored with To Be Hero X a little bit. At least this, or no, not bored is the wrong word. Because I'm definitely not bored, but I'm definitely getting frustrated. Where it's just like, okay, you've built up a lot of goodwill, but that goodwill is slowly draining. And I need a little bit more from it, or at least you addressing previous stories and maybe involving them somehow. And we've proven that we've done that because at the end of the last episode, again, we brought up the fact that Lucky Scion and Queen are on vacation because it seems like the whole Shadow Blade and Bunny Girl story is either stopped or paused. So I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I don't know. I hope it's good. I think that's the last thing that I can leave here is I hope it's good.